Welcome to the neXup podcast. I am your host, PC747. This podcast is dedicated to covering primarily Android news. I started this podcast back in March, a year after starting my website, neXup.com. You can find this podcast on SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and upload it to YouTube. I started this podcast as I wanted a way to be able to cover the latest Android and entertainment news. Now, how is this different from any other podcast out there? Well, even though Android is my primary topic, I want to use this platform to teach about Android, as well as talk about and teach about other platforms, and also cover trending topics in the tech world. So let's go ahead and get started with the big news that pretty much came out this week, and that's the OnePlus 7 Pro. Right now, it is available through T-Mobile in the OnePlus store. And this could be the sleeper phone of the year so far, provided you can actually pick one up. And I don't think you have a problem doing so. And being that you can get this thing for under $1,000, this is something that is going to appeal to a lot of people. And looking at what Google did last week, where they put out the Pixel 3a XL, well, there were some compromises there. You know, even though this phone is going to be half the price of the OnePlus 7 Pro, as far as the Pixel 3a, outside of the camera, you know you're not getting as good as a processor, a better screen, or larger battery, you know, compared to what you were getting with your other flagships out there. But when you go to the OnePlus 7 Pro, and you compare it to as far as a cheaper phone that is under that subpar price, well, you are going to get the specs, the RAM, the processor, the screen. And the only area I feel like that you're going to be missing out on is going to be the camera. But hold up, let's back up for a second. Let's run down the specs of the OnePlus 7 Pro so you can get an idea what you're looking at if you're thinking about picking up this device. So let's go ahead and start off with the screen. We're talking about a 6.7-inch display, no notches, none, no teardrop notch, no tiny notch. We're talking about an all-screen display. And on top of that, they're bringing that 90 hertz refresh rate. So for you out there who are not familiar what that means, basically, when the Razer came out, what was the appealing to that? And I'm talking about Razer, the gaming phone, is that it had this refresh rate so that it allowed people to get the best user experience when they were playing games. And the caveat to that was you can scroll down real fast and it kept up with everything such as your Twitter and your Facebook, whatever you were doing, and it felt like, man, this is an awesome display that we would love to see come to smartphones. Well, here it is. The OnePlus 7 Pro has that same feature that made these gaming phones appealing. Now you'll have it if you pick this phone up. As far as what you're looking at RAM-wise, we're talking about up to 12 gigabytes of RAM, 4,000 milliamp hour battery, and your fingerprint scanner is going to be in glass. Pretty much the same sensor found on the OnePlus 6T that I've been raving about, but it's a little bit faster. So that means even though you have an in-glass fingerprint sensor, it's almost as fast as having the one that everyone knows about on the back of their phones. And then we go ahead and go to processor. We're talking about the latest Snapdragon 855. And if you got someplace to go, you're down on battery life, well, this thing has the ability to go from 0 to 50% in 20 minutes. That means if you worked all day, you're down to the last little bit of battery life, you're planning on heading out to the club this evening or whatever, by the time you get done showering and getting yourself together, your phone is ready to go to give you even more power. Software-wise, Android 9.0 Pie. Dual SIM slots, so that means if you're someone who likes to travel international or you have multiple carriers, you'll be able to utilize that by having dual SIMs there. And this definitely will work for those who like to use their phone as a work phone. You will also be looking at a USB 3.0 generator 1 Type-C. So basically, whenever you plug in your phone to your computer, you're getting faster data transfer rates. That means your pictures, your files, your music, it's going to transfer much faster. As far as colors, you're looking at nebula blue, mirror gray, and almond. And let's go ahead and talk about this price, because I think this is what is going to be appealing to a lot of people. So for the entry-level 6 gigabytes of RAM model with 128 gigabytes of storage, you're looking at $669. For the 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage, $699. And for the topped out model, or as I like to call the bossed out model, 12 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage, you're talking about $750. Now you look at that compared to your flagship devices out there, such as the latest S10 Plus. In fact, when I say compare it to something, the Samsung Galaxy S10e, which is a cheaper model, if you was to buy the unlocked version, you're paying the same amount. So that means you're getting a pretty much a phone that has better specs than the S10e, the Google Pixel, and a lot of your other flagship devices out there for nowhere near the price that you would pay for them. Now, we talk about it having an all-screen display. So those of you out there who big into selfies, you may be wondering, where's the front-facing camera? Well, it's hidden within the body, and it slides up whenever you're ready to take a selfie. Now, I know people be wondering, well, okay, so there may be some delay in it, right? Well, no, this thing's actually smooth. The mechanism is real fast, and if you was to drop your phone, it has the technology in there where it automatically closes. Now, this design is not new. It's pretty similar to the Vivo Nex, which came up with the design a year ago last year. So this is pretty much a design that copies that, but improves it. And you gotta be asking, so how is OnePlus gonna be able to bring me this phone at this price? Where are the corners? Where are they settling? Well, let's go ahead and be honest. There's gonna be a couple areas they're gonna settle. First thing, there's no IP rating. And the reason for that, well, OnePlus said they didn't want to pass the cost of IP rating on to the customers, so they went without that. I know a lot of people are like, well, okay, I'm okay with giving that up if that means a cheaper phone. But the other area that they kind of settled on is the camera. Now, the camera is an improvement on the 6C, but it is not as good as the big three, and the big three being Samsung, Apple, and the Google Pixel. Now, for a lot of people, they're going to be okay with that, because this phone actually do a pretty good job of taking photos in lighting conditions. And one of the things about the OnePlus 6T, whenever you put Google's or a modded version of the Google camera onto that phone, the pictures are actually better. Now, is it as good as my Pixel 3 XL? No, but it's a big improvement. And for a lot of people, I think they'd be okay with it, especially if you're looking at what you're paying for this phone compared to your flagships. Now, the other thing that kind of, had me scratching my head is the simple fact that, so if you go into trade in your previous phone, for example, I have the OnePlus 6T, and if I wanted to trade this phone in for the Pixel 7, if you go to their website and you plug your information, which I did, I have nothing wrong with my phone. I keep my phone in the case. It's pretty much set, ready to go. Well, OnePlus quoted me $240. That means for a phone that was, what, $600 when I bought it 6 months ago, it dropped to less than half in 6 months. That's a poor resale value. Now, if I really want to get rid of my OnePlus 6T, I would sell it off of Swappa or eBay. In fact, I actually recommend people who are looking to sell their phone and wanting to jump on a OnePlus 7 Pro to go that route. But that did make you wonder about, something like the OnePlus 6 or any OnePlus phone, the fact that the value of it is really not holding. And that has a lot to do with OnePlus because they're constantly, releasing a phone every 6 months that undercuts the phone that they had before. And it drops the value of the phone. Now, overall, as far as the phone, I think that those that are coming from the OnePlus 6 or anything previous, and you love the OnePlus model, it's going to be an obvious jump, something that you go ahead and pick up and feel good about. Those on the OnePlus 6T, if you really want this phone, yeah, go ahead and sell it off of eBay or Swapper, your OnePlus 6T, and use that money towards the OnePlus 7 Pro. But I'm actually going to go ahead and wait for the OnePlus 7T Pro and see how that looks, because we know they're going to come out with a 7T version of it. And whatever issues or concerns or design changes will be coming on that phone. And it's probably going to be more appealing than the OnePlus 7 Pro. Now, while we're on the OnePlus 6, or OnePlus in particular, I want to go ahead and talk about a tip for you guys out there. So those of you who have the OnePlus 6T, you may be suffering a similar issue that I'm suffering. So one of the issues I've noticed as of late with my OnePlus 6T is the simple fact that, yeah, I would notice a battery drain issue that just came out of nowhere. And it's been going on for like the past 2 weeks for me. And, once I have a battery drain issue, I've been around Android long enough that I know, okay, if I'm having battery issues, to see what app I may have installed that may cause the issue, or go into settings, battery, to see what app is drained it. And I've done all that. I've wiped the cache, I've done a factory reset, and I was still having issues. So I looked online and saw that other people were having similar issues, especially if you go to Reddit and even the OnePlus forum. Now, I was actually able to find someone who actually posted a fix for this. And I'm going to go ahead and give credit, because I actually saw this on a OnePlus 6T forum, and I posted it on my website as well. So the username was RAO_Abdul_Hannah. And he basically gave away this fixes. And what you would have to do is go into settings, recent app manager, and check deep clear. And also he suggested going into settings, battery optimization, advanced optimization, and deep optimization, and check that. Now again, if you go to my website, I actually got pictures that show you step by step on how to do that. And I've actually been doing that for the past couple of days, and I noticed an improvement. Now I'm still trying to figure out whether, and I think the actual fix was a deep clean for me, because I've done that and I actually went revert everything back to my previous settings, and whatever the issue was pretty much stopped. So I'm thinking the deep clean may have been what fixed it or stopped the battery drain. And I will continue to monitor it to see if that's the case. But yeah, so those of you who are having similar issues, that's what you would need to do, and try that out and see if that works for you. And let me know in the comment below if that actually helps you out. So let's go ahead and go down to news of the week. And let's go ahead and start with Sam Mobile talking about the Samsung Galaxy Fold. So we all know about the Galaxy Fold. Everybody was anticipating this thing being the next evolution of smartphones, the folding phones. And yeah, after reviews of people noticing things getting lodged up underneath the screen issues, Samsung had to pull the device and work on improving it. Well, it looking like the improvement, which we expect, that will be coming to this phone will be to, make sure the top layer that people was peeling off is unremovable, as well as shrinking the gap between the hinge and the screen so that it can prevent any foreign object from getting lodged up in there. Now, will this fix be worth spending $2,000 on? And for me, I still say that depends on who you are. If you someone who have the money and you do not mind paying the money for bleeding edge tech, knowing that there may be future problems, then go ahead. But for a lot of people, I still say wait. I still say allow, this phone to go to the public to be used over and over again so that more problems can be found and they can continue to improve for the next generation. So as far as this phone, I'm not going to jump on it. I may check it out if it's made available in Best Buy, play around with it. But as far as, spending the money for it and making it a daily driver, I just can't see that right now because of the simple fact that I expected there to be more problems to be found from this. And, that's part of being a Gen 1 device. It's going to be filled with issues, and we're going to learn from it and be able to, not say we, but manufacturers are going to be able to learn from it and improve it with future generations. And by generation 2 and generation 3, we're going to get a device that's worth buying. Continuing on, so President Trump signs an executive order barring U.S. companies from using telecoms that may pose a threat to national security. So what does that mean? Well, basically, companies like Huawei, and it's really directed at Huawei, won't be able to do business here with any of the companies in the United States. And you can go ahead and expect that Huawei is not going to be able to sell phones here or any type of device here. If you're excited about the foldable phone movement, well, foldable PCs will be making its way eventually to the hands of customers like all of those excited about this. So from The Verge, we get a chance to see a prototype of the Lenovo foldable PC. It's obviously concept, but it opens the door for just where this technology can go. And I expect the company to take full advantage of, or industry to take full advantage of this, will be the service industry. Restaurants like Chick-fil-A, you already see workers who pretty much go up and down and take your orders, so that they can deal with the longer lines and make sure you're not, hindered at the drive-through. Well, this is where I can see them having something like this will help with that, and as well as any other companies such as rental-car companies, anywhere they like to have you sign contracts or deal with paperwork. I can see where this can be very usable, as well as those that's traveling. It can serve a way to get stuff done, especially when you're dealing with, being on an airplane. If you sat on the seats and had the tray tables down, you got a very small room as it is, and that's not including the passenger in front of you wanting to lean back. So this may be something that is appealing. But just like with the foldable phones, it's still going to have ways to go. Still got some technology and bugs to work out. But I think this is going to be a movement that's going to stick around, and it's going to be interesting to see how far we can grow from it and how manufacturers are able to continue to improve the technology to make it better. Fans of Android One phones, especially if you love the Motorola One, well, we're going to be getting an update to that in the Motorola One Vision. And renders show, and I got this from Pocket now, that it's going to have a hole punch display with the back-mounted fingerprint and a 48 megapixel camera. So those are asking, okay, what's this hole punch display? Think of the Samsung Galaxy S10. That's basically what you're going to be looking at. And coming to something like the Android One phone, which for those who are unfamiliar with Android One, it's pretty much a scaled down version of Android, which is designed to work on, lighter versions, lighter hardware versions of hardware that or Android. So if you wanted a phone that's a little bit cheaper than the flagship or mid-tier, this is where Android One comes in. And the fact that they're pretty much copying something like the Samsung S10 will make this phone appealing to a number of people who want that modern look but don't want to pay the price for a Samsung phone. And then while we're on Motorola, we got a chance to see a leak of the Motorola Razr as it made its way to YouTube. And man, this thing looks good. If you're a fan of the old school Razr phone, you love that flip phone design, this is pretty much it. It's the modern day flip phone that's really brought to Android. And this could be a sleeper phone, especially for a lot of people who, have been holding on to their flip phones or been hesitant to, go to smartphones. This could be the phone right here that draw people there, especially if you were a fan of the old school Razr phones. This is truly an awesome way of taking that design and, bringing it to the smartphone industry and adding Android to it. So I'm loving what they're doing with this, and definitely want to see how it's priced. And if they end up pricing this thing right, we're looking at one of Verizon's best-selling phones. And just in case you're not familiar what I'm talking about. So basically, Motorola's upcoming Razr phone will literally be like the Razr phone or the Razr phone of the past. And it's really a foldable display. Instead of folding in landscape mode like the Samsung Galaxy S10, it will fold in portrait mode. So basically fold down like the old school Razr. And the way the video showed, you can see messages on a display on the front, and then when you fold it open, you get a full longer display, kind of like I said, similar to a foldable phone. And it's a nice idea, nice design, and yeah, I think this will definitely be appealing to a lot of people. The question going to be on this is the price. Being that foldable phones already have a expensive price tag with it, are they going to be able to price this phone at a rate that is going to be able to be justified, or are going to allow those with flip phones to want to pick those up? And I think what's going to end up happening is Verizon will find a way to put a package with it, or find a way to sell this phone in a way that it will be appealing to those customers. So let's go ahead and talk about some Apple news real quick. So according to 9to5Mac, iOS 12.4 developer beta, that pretty much just launched, may be the first software to support Apple Card. So, those of you who've been, waiting for the Apple Card, which is Apple's credit card, come to their phones, it looks like this software allow you to play around with it, and this may eventually be the software that will be the forefront of launching it to customers come this fall. And while we're still on Apple news, and this as well comes from 9to5Mac, people like me with the older MacBook, well, you may want to go ahead and click that icon that says update, as Apple is getting out a patch to deal with this zombie load vulnerability that's found in Intel chips. So for those of you who see that prompt to update your software and you ignore it because you just don't feel like being bugged with updating right now, well, go ahead and take the time, update your device. iPhone users, if you're hyped up about the 5G movement, well, you may not be seeing 5G chips until 2021, which is 2 years from now. An article from the Forbes states that Apple's decision to go with an all Intel chip would set them back a couple years because, well, as you know, Apple had to backtrack and make amends with Qualcomm after being in a lawsuit with them. And make a deal so they can get them to make 5G chips for them. Because of that, they're going to be behind the power curve as far as other phones, as they're not going to probably see a large number of their phones made available with 5G chips until 2021. Because Qualcomm is pretty much going to be, the only company in the game supplying the 5G chips, as Apple's not going to be able to Huawei after the latest executive order by President Trump. So Qualcomm right now is the company to go to if you want 5G chips. And with all the manufacturers lined up for 5G phones, Apple's going to get in line. And unfortunately, that's going to be a long line of manufacturers that they're going to wait behind. Now, knowing that they're Apple and they're a big company, I'm pretty sure they're going to get their big orders and have them ready for their phones. But still, I don't see it being available till 2021. And honestly, I know a lot of Apple fans out there may be like, all right, I kind of want this 5G technology now. But if you follow the trend of Android phones with LTE, the issue with dealing with battery life and software just getting up to speed to handle 5G. I'm thinking about 2021 anyway. That will be when all the towers are rolled out. The technology is where it needs to be. So even though you guys have to wait 2 years, I don't think it's going to be a big loss. In fact, I think it's going to be a gain for you guys, because by the time you guys do pick it up for the iPhone, it's going to be, the software is going to be better. The tower is going to be more widespread, and I think you're gonna be able to fully enjoy having a 5G iPhone and not feel like, just because you are one of the first to jump on the technology, you're having to wait for the towers to come online and deal with all the barrier issues that Android users are dealing with. So let's go ahead and go into some news dealing with TV and entertainment. So Batman Hush, which was an iconic comic back in the day that a lot of fans love, well, it will be making its way to the animation. DC Animation kicked out a trailer showing the latest film. And I actually look forward to seeing that. And yeah, it will be available straight to DVD or streaming. And while we're talking about Batman, looks like we do have a new Batman, as Robert Pattinson will be replacing Batfleck as a new Batman in the DC universe. And he'll be playing the role of Batman in the upcoming Matt Reeves' The Batman, which is slated to come out in about 2 years. Game of Thrones will be coming to an end. Its final show will be Sunday. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys can't wait. And yeah, for a lot of people, this past season has been, split and controversial. So, seeing how the series ends for good is going to be the theme of memes. It's going to, be the talk all over social media. And I know a lot of you guys, don't want to have it spoiled. You want to be a part of it. So, yeah, tune in this Sunday to check out the last episode of Game of Thrones and see how this ends. So let's go ahead and close things out here. And, I was sitting there just going through the web real quick and just Twitter and stumbled on something. And I saw that Me Express kiosk, was literally a vending machine for their smartphones. They was actually showing that you can go there and, buy smartphones and right through a vending machine. And I guess it was I'm not sure, it looked like it was a concept or something they were testing. Now we already see, if you go to airports, that you can buy earbuds and headphones through airport kiosks. And the question is, are we ready for smartphones to be sold through kiosks? Because I look at this and I see how people react and panic when, a $2 pack of M&Ms gets stuck and they're not able to get out of the vending machine, and they're literally destroying this thing for a $2 pack of M&Ms. So imagine a $800 to $1,000 smartphone getting stuck, and just the panic and reaction and concerns that may go there. Now, most people, or I'm hoping that if they do bring this technology out there, they will have some way to allow people to get their money back, or they have a way to deal with that. Because just imagine you're the customer behind them and you put in your money, you end up getting 2 smartphones for the price of 1. I mean, just think about that, and as well as a nightmare that can come from manufacturers and the companies supporting that vending machine. Now, I do see an advantage or an opportunity there as well. So, we look at movie theaters right now, and one of the ways they're making money right now is for the releases. So, this example was anytime you have the latest movie, Endgame, for example, there's a big excitement to go see the movie. Opening weekend, it's going to be packed. So if you want to be one of the first ones to see it early, a lot of times they release the movie that Thursday around, close to 10 o'clock at midnight. And, smartphone manufacturers can pretty much take that same idea and do that with their latest smartphone. So you take something like an iPhone or a Galaxy where there's just a lot of anticipation for it. And there are lines for it. Where people are waiting to get their pre-orders in and hit Best Buy and Apple stores. Well, you can literally set up where you have like a pre-release or a midnight release of some of the upcoming smartphones in the form of a kiosk. Now, obviously, when you have something like that, you're going to have security around to make sure to protect your merchandise as well as the customer. But I can see that actually being something that can be appealing to the customer and work for the manufacturer, where they can make money off of this, especially for those who are on that hype train. They're excited about this new phone, the latest phone that's out there, and They're not wanting to stand in line or not wanting to go to the store, or they want it now, and the stores don't open for another 10 or 12 hours, and they can go to a kiosk and get it early. And I could see this being something that manufacturers can take advantage of and get some of these early sales out there. And it'd be kind of interesting to see, the whole logistics and how that will work. So what are your thoughts on a vending machine used for the iPhone, Galaxy, or Pixel? Will that be something you'd be interested in? Or do you see that being a nightmare? Leave your comments below on what your thoughts. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me on another neXup podcast. Have a good weekend. I'm out.